Hello and welcome back to Down the Track, and we have our first finalist of the Under 19 World Cup, the Under 19 Cricket World Cup 2022, and that is England winning a cliffhanger of a semi-final versus Afghanistan. A few overs been cut due to rain, but in the end they won by 15 runs. It looked like at one stage they win comfortably, then it looked like they lose comfortably, but the last three overs, sensational bowling from Boyden and Rayan Ahmed to give England the victory. I felt that Afghanistan played really good cricket as well. Both sides were very competitive. If you just break down the game, the first innings, England winning the toss, batting first, off to a good start. George Thomas scoring a 50. I felt he was a bit lucky in the sense that he was dropped 2-3 times, and Afghanistan kept giving him those chances. That did cost them a bit. But the Afghanistani fast bowlers were expensive, but the spinners were brilliant. The spinners came in, slowed things down, picked up wickets. Noor Ahmed again, the fantastic bowling, 10 overs, 32 runs, 2 wickets. The pick of the bowlers today was Kharota, the left arm orthodox spinner, 9 overs, 25 runs, 1 wicket, and Izrakullah Naveed as well. He picked up a wicket, 10 overs, 37 runs. So all three spinners doing a great job. Economy of around three-ish, and one of them under three as well. But it was the fast bowlers both going for above 7 runs, which kind of cost Afghanistan the game. If you look at England's point of view, that partnership between George Bell and Alex Horton. That was the game-changing partnership. Bell playing anchor, even though he came up the order, 56 of 67, strike rate of 83, and Alex Horton. This was the man of the match for me, to be very honest with you. 53 of 36 balls, 5 fours and a six. He completely changed the momentum of the game. I think Afghanistan would have been chasing below 200 without this partnership for sure, and Afghanistan would have won the game, in my opinion, if they did that. But Alex Horton batted brilliantly, excellent batting, and for someone coming that down low the order, that low down the order, it really will give England a lot of confidence going into the finals, thinking that they have a lot of batting depth now for sure. And I think at one stage below 200 was the score, predicted score, and the way they fought back England, fantastic. Still, 230, they still had to bowl well. This was a better pitch than the one we've seen previously. There is some turn there, but the fast bowlers in particular can be expensive. The ball does come onto the bat, especially in the new with the new ball, and also in the death overs. So England had to bowl well, and that's exactly what they did. I think Afghanistan got off to a really good start despite losing a wicket very early. Allah Noor and Mohammad Ishaq put on a really good partnership. Ishaq scoring 43, and then unfortunately getting run out. That was the game changing point. And then Allah Noor making 60. After that, things slowed down, and it looked like Afghanistan will be out of this game. There was a partnership between Abdul Hadi and Bilal Ahmed. Abdul Hadi was anchoring. Strike rate was low, 37 of 60, but he was anchoring the innings. Bilal Ahmed chipped in with 33. And then I think the game-changing partnership was with Noor Ahmed, where he made 25 of 90, 19, 25 of 19, and he found the boundary a few times. There was two no balls as well, which caused England a lot of problems. They couldn't they got Afghanistan back into the game with with those no balls. I think there was like 9 runs and 1 ball, so that was very, very costly from England's point of view, and they got Afghanistan back into the game. The equation was around 50 of 29 balls, and it changed to 50 of 29, 50 of 30 balls. It changed to 23 of 18. 23 of 18, you're backing the batting team. Two batsmen set, there's still 4 wickets left, and you're always backing the batting team, even on the under 19 level. But that's where Boyden came in. Him and Rayan Ahmed, they bowled brilliantly. Boyden just gave 4 runs in that third last over, and then Rayan Ahmed picked up 3 wickets in the penultimate over. Leg spinner, he got hit before that. I think his 5 overs went for 40 plus runs. He was under the pump, but those 4 wickets completely changed his overall 4 wickets. But he picked up 3 wickets in that over, and that completely turned the game on its head. And it looked like Afghanistan would need like 6-7 of the last over, but they actually needed 18. So that put a lot of pressure from Afghanistan's point of view. They looked like they were kind of coasting at that, after that partnership. That partnership really changed the game for Afghanistan, and they were coasting, but those last 3 overs, credit to the leg spinner and the left arm fast bowler, both Boyden and Rayan Ahmed, brilliant to hold their nerve like that and just give 6-7 runs in 3 overs and picking up 3 wickets as well. Outstanding stuff. High quality cricket from England and from Afghanistan as well. You have to give give them a lot of credit. They've played magnificently well. Whenever you thought they're out of this tournament, they've come back. Whether it was the 134 that they defended, or even today, it looked like the game was over, but they took it till the end. 23 of 18, they took it actually into their favor. At one stage it was like 60 of 30. It looked like it's far fetched for Afghanistan, but they kept the pressure on England. They forced England to make mistakes by running well between the wickets, finding the boundary as well. But in the end, it was just not their day, and you have to applaud their effort. I think they played some really good cricket, and this is great for the future. In terms of cricket, they have a lot of exciting talent to Afghanistan, and they're competing with the likes of England, India, Australia, who have been in this on this level and the senior level so many times in World Cups. They have a lot of things to look back at, where Afghanistan's history is not as deep, or not as it's not as brilliant as the other teams. So you have to give them credit for the way they played. And but yeah, in the end, England have been excellent so far in this tournament. Their batsmen have really followed the template of the senior team, and you have to give credit to Owen Morgan there, because I think he's laid that platform since 2015-16. He's changed the way England play, and their junior team is also playing like that. My co-host in the house, what's up, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was just recapping the England-Afghanistan game, and I was just giving credit to, I give a lot of credit to Afghanistan. I think whenever we thought they're out in this tournament, even in this game, they fought back well, and their future is very bright. The way they played under pressure, they could have won the game, but again, a bit of inexperience. You can say they haven't been in this situation ever, like in a semi-final. They've been in a semi-final before, but this kind of pressure situation, getting over that line, they haven't experienced. So that maybe caused them. But England, you have to give credit to them, and Owen Morgan, I think, has a lot of credit that he has to take from this, because again, you saw today that England matched that kind of template where you go hard in the middle. It was actually difficult to hit because of the spinners, but in the death overs and the power play, they were hitting the ball. And I think the last inning, that last partnership really changed the game in England's favor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that was the difference between getting them above that 190, 200 to a 230 score, which was in the end the most important thing. They lost by 18 runs. So, that was a very, very important partnership in the end, and in the end of the power play. And I think Afghanistan will be kicking themselves to let them get away after keeping them relatively quiet throughout their bowling innings. And I think and even it was a topsy-turvy game of pretty absorbing cricket. But I think those two no balls when the no ball when he caught that catch and they took the 2 runs, and the no ball 4, I think at that time that's the end of that should have really been the turning point. But I think the way they came back and the way Rehan Ahmed bowled that over, picking up three wickets, I think was fantastic. It was just very good to see a good game of cricket for these youngsters, 18, 19. I think even irrespective of the results, I think all 22 players will learn a lot from this game. And victory for England, so they'll be the happier of the lot. But I think Afghanistan can keep their heads high and come back stronger in the next tournament. I think they're there and thereabouts. I think it's a matter of time before they really become a force to reckon with in world cricket as well.
Yeah, and the infrastructure is not as great as the other countries, and but it's just raw talent right now. And honestly, this tournament I've seen it's actually been an improvement compared to the other Afghanistan teams, where you've seen them really crack under pressure. Here, of course, there was pressure, and you could say they cracked, but they were getting back into the game. It wasn't a sudden collapse. When it was 60 of 30, you expected them to collapse, which we've seen from other Afghanistan teams. But this team showed a bit more maturity. That means over the last 6-7 years, Afghanistan cricket in general has really grown. And they've gotten to these positions, and they've gotten these experiences which has helped them, and this will further help them for sure.
100%. I think that this is the most important. These are the learnings that'll be the most important. Nothing teaches you better than the experience itself, right? And these are the experiences that will really make them better players of cricket. I think a few of these guys will be starting to look at getting fast tracked into the Afghanistani team as well. So some real big positives for Afghanistan to take. I think they can, like I said, they can keep their head held high and come into the next tournament with as more important favorites than they have been in the previous couple of tournaments.
Yeah, and some brilliant captaincy from Tom Prest as well. Like, you might think he overbowled himself, even though he went for only 3.9. He didn't give Boyden his full quota, but he bowled the full quota. But it was actually great captaincy in the end, because he got Boyden in just at the perfect time when it you feel that the game is slipping away, but actually he brought it back, and then giving Ryan Ahmed, who was the most expensive. So you have the least expensive and the most expensive bowling in tandem, and both of them just really complementing each other.
Yeah, I think it was very important for them to. I guess the most important thing was Brett was that he was able to contain the run, so they had to go after Rehan Ahmed, and when they went after him, he was able to get a few wickets in the deep by getting caught in the deep as well. So fantastic captaincy. I think real maturity for a youngster. I think he's a name to reckon with. I think he's a good all round player for them as well. So I think a name to reckon with for England in the future as well.
Yeah, Vinay is asking what was Don's prediction.
Oh, I didn't think England would win, but I didn't mention it on down the track, so that I think that helped England.
Honestly, for me, it was I was backing Afghanistan just because the way they defended against Sri Lanka as well. I felt it's going to be tricky, and it was actually very tricky for England. The spinners.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was just saying the spinners, the all economy of 3 and one bowler also was under 3. The fast bowlers gave it away. 7.7, both of them. The economy rate was quite high, so that's where the difference was. But if you just look at the spinners itself, it was difficult for England, and it could have easily been an under 200 score. But without those spinners, it could have been a 300 score as well. So
yeah,
I think that's why I was tipping Afghanistan in that sense. I also didn't give a prediction, but I was backing Afghanistan.
Yeah, I think Afghanistan and the spinners are a force to reckon with. They started off with the likes of Rashid and Nabi, and now these Mujib, and then now these youngsters also really pulling things back for Afghanistan. I think is fantastic to see.
My dad tweeted, he tagged Sunrisers and Tom Moody, and he said to sign Noor Ahmed because he was very impressed. Not only is he a left-arm Chinaman, but a very handy
right-hand batsman. Yeah, I think it's a good shout.
Yeah, he was very impressive. I think the pressure that he put on England, it caused them to make those mistakes in terms of the no balls and everything.
I love these Chinamen, man. They're proper bowlers. I think it's a very good shout. If someone like a Zampa or a Kuldeep or a Hasaranga doesn't come through, I think he's a very, very good option.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, player of the game was Alex Horton. 56 was it 53 of 36 balls?
I think that's the game changer.
Came like at number 7 and changed the game completely. Without that innings, England would have probably lost the game, to be very honest with you. So that
100%. I agree 100%.
Yeah, we like to pick. Me in particular, I like to pick those kind of impact, and this was a proper impact performance. Yeah. You could give it to the bowlers also because they're the ones who think. But if you didn't have those runs, then there's nothing that Boyden could have done, to be honest.
True.
But yeah, looking towards tomorrow's game, India versus Australia. Australia confident after beating Pakistan. India beating Bangladesh, the world champions. So both teams, very confident going into the semi-finals. How do you see this game going, and what do you think they should do winning the toss? Because I feel that it's actually batting wickets, but India have actually bowled first and done well as well.
Yeah, but I think for these youngsters, I think pressure becomes an important part. Like you saw Afghanistan also succumb to pressure to an extent. With that being said, I think bowling in those tight situations also is hard. But I just think going there out, putting the runs on the board is always your best bet, especially in pressure situations. In senior cricket, I think it's a little bit different these days because I think people are extreme professionals. But I think at this stage of the tournament and with the youngsters, with the lack of experience and lack of big game matches, I think that this would be ideal to just go out there, chance your arms, just go out there with a positive intent, try to score as many as you can, and then just kind of stifle the runs from the other end. I think that would be ideal. But I think India is done it both ways, and they've done it well both ways. So hopefully they will be looking and at taking some of those experiences in the previous part of this tournament and just going out there and doing the basics right. If they can do the basics right, I think India has a chance to win this game. I'm not going to make a prediction because my predictions have been very very off lately. But you guys all know who I want to win, so hopefully that comes true.
Again, the battle will be Australian batsmen versus the Indian spinners. Vicky Oswald has been really good. The new Jadeja, he's really getting the ball to turn. And
Kaushal also has been good.
Kaushal is good as well. Ravi Kumar, the left-arm fast bowler as well, the opening bowler, he's been swinging the ball, picking up wickets with the new ball. But I think it's going to be the spinners versus the Australian batsmen. That's going to be the game changer. And then Australia have their own spinners as well, so that might be a challenge for India. But I think more will be the likes of Salzman and the faster bowlers who might trouble the Indian batsmen. But yeah, what do you think about the battles?
I think I agree with you. I think it's more like the Indian spinners versus the Aussie batsmen and the Aussie quicks against the Indian top order, who's been pretty good as of late. But I think a big innings from Harun Singh is probably something that we haven't seen in the past couple of games. He's got it out a little cheaply, so maybe a nice comeback innings from him, scoring those big runs. But I think it'll be the Indian top order versus the Aussie quicks, and the Indian spinners versus the Aussie, pretty much the top and middle order kind of. If the Indian spinners can stifle the runs and get them to a moderate total, then that'll be an easier total to chase, or for that matter, if it's in the other way around as well. So I think that would be the key battles. Some good players to look out for from both teams, but I think whoever kind of holds on to these important moments will probably come out victorious in tomorrow's game. I am expecting a very, very close game.
Today. I was asking how the Indian players recovered. I think Sandhu was the one who got COVID, and I don't think I'm not sure if he's recovered yet or not. I'll have to check up on that, so I don't want to give wrong information there. But it did take the captain, vice captain, both and Sheikh Rashid Sheikh 1 week. So according to that, might have not recovered, but I'll have to double check on that. But speaking of the captain, vice captain, both decent performances. Yashdul, man, some of the cover drives he plays is so good to watch, man. So good.
And he's a proper middle order batsman. Like, he comes in, takes his time. And I always think about the senior Indian cricket team needing middle order, but I want to see how he can really integrate because we've seen a lot of these under 19 players come in and then kind of struggle in the bigger formats or in the more senior teams, like the likes of Shaw or Gill for that matter, although Gill has had his injury issues as well. But these guys who you see are fantastic players, have not really broken into the Indian cricket team. The competition also is extremely difficult, so it's going to be hard, but I think this Yashdul has something about him. I think he's one of those to watch out for. He's a proper player.
Yeah, for sure. And I think playing like Ranji Trophy and playing domestic cricket really helps, because I've always seen, like, in India, I think since 2006, they've always reached the semi-finals, finals. They're always competing for that spot. I think the last... even when they do lose, they lose in finals, like whether it was Pakistan, where they go all out for 60, chasing like 80, 90 runs, or whether it was against Bangladesh in the last one. They always reach those stages. So I think, domestic cricket itself, you have to, of course, praise that. I think the Indian unit does always look professional. Of course, though, like on their day, they can lose to anybody as well. And they will have to be wary of this Australian team, because I felt that Pakistan should have won that game, but Pakistan probably made a mistake at the toss. So India have to be a bit careful as well. You don't want to be chasing too much. This Australian team can bat as well. They have a very good combination. That left-handed batsman is very good. Good innings against Pakistan, and they have lower order hitting as well. So you have to be a bit careful. You can't take it lightly, and that's where India will have to be a bit careful. But apart from that, they do look like a professional unit.
I agree 100%. I think that it's going to be, like I said, a close game. I think it's going to be the critical moments. Whoever wins these small key battles will probably be the one who will come out victorious in the end. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah. And one thing I would just say on this game, the last thing I would say is that India, compared to their senior team, is completely different than Indian under-19 team, where they have a lot of all-rounders. So shout out to Raj Baba. We always speak about him, but there's a lot of other players who can bat and bowl for India. So
there's potentially eight bowlers that can actually bat. That means only a wicketkeeper and two others. That's it.
Yeah. So that's positive from there. But yeah, I think that wraps it up in terms of the under-19 World Cup. Really exciting times. It's been a great tournament. I've really enjoyed it, been following it, and you've also been following it. Some really good games, and it's great to see these youngsters handling pressure. And some people, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but it's great to see.
Absolutely 100%.
7 years, they'll probably be a lot of them will be in the senior level dominating world cricket. So excited for that. And PSL wise, Multan Sultan smashing it, still unbeaten. Mohammad Rizwan is turning out MS Dhoni. I said this before, I'm saying it again, but he's with the bat, not so much in the last two games, but Tim David, man, what the hell was that inning? 70 of like 27 balls, fantastic hitting. Again, that was the difference in the game because Islamabad got close, 197. But yeah, that innings complete. Someone or the other is stepping up for Multan, and I think they've really got a good bunch right now.
I think the level of that we saw when PSL started. I think the level of PSL cricket has improved significantly. I think you're seeing a lot more players. You're seeing some of the top players kind of go in there and play as well. Of course probably don't have of course the Indians and then some other really good players. But I
I
think
see a big difference, though. A big difference to that is what you're saying. Exactly what you're saying is the pitches, because a lot of the PSL was played in the UAE. Now it's playing in Pakistan. I think the pitches have been a bit more conducive for batting, and overall, in Dubai it's tougher, right? With the stop-start kind of pitches and also the dew.
I agree. I think that is a good point there. But just in general, I think the level of cricket has improved in the PSL, and I think that's good to see. I think a lot of these franchise crickets over the years have improved, but I think PSL has improved leaps and bounds. When they had their first season, I remember it was just all over the place. It was a hot mess, but I think that they've really picked it up together, and I think this is a good platform for a lot of people to come and showcase their talent, especially Pakistani players. And I think a lot of youngsters are starting to kind of show that that they are worthy of a spot in the Pakistan national team as well. And a lot of these youngsters or these foreign players who probably won't get a chance in, let's say, the IPL or something are kind of out there to show, like someone like a Tim David might make an IPL contract on the basis of what an absolute fantastic innings. Unfortunately, someone like a Shadab Khan, who also had an incredible bowling and batting performance, will not be able to play. But I think it's just good to see that Pakistan cricket also is finding these kind of gems, and the level of cricket is also significantly improving. You have some great minds like the likes of Andy Flower, who will be in the IPL. There's Amir Sohail. There's for that matter. I can't remember the Akib Mahmood. These guys are all good cricketers of Pakistan. Also, these are proper professional players who are really improving these sides, and it's good to see. It's just good to see good competitive cricket being played, and hopefully this continues throughout the rest of the tournament, and we get some good exciting cricket there as well.
Yep, and I think you mentioned Shadab. One great thing, I think, since he's become captain, even we saw in previous seasons, he's really taken that batting responsibility. We see him come two down as well at times, and it's really helped him captaincy. It's the rare occasion where you don't underplay yourself. He's actually giving himself more responsibility. He's it's like, oh, my captain ban gaya, main kar raha hu batting, bowling. That's what he's doing, but he's doing it so effectively.
I wish he had a little bit more support. I think he could have actually gone on to really challenge the Multan Sultan score as well. But I think at some point, you have to just applaud the innings that he even with the ball, he picked up a couple of wickets. So I think he's been phenomenal for his team. I think hopefully they can actually go on and have a good run. It's been a sort of a slow start for them, but I think they can really go out there. And Multan, on the other hand, I think Mohammad Rizwan is anything he's touching is actually turning into gold at this point. This form will dip, and that will be important to see how he kind of comes out of that. But when that happens, but for right now, he's on song, and I think that Multan looks like the favorites at this point.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a great start for them. Vinay Singh, Rizwan's reaction when he got out, not as usual. I think last couple of games he's not been scoring, so he's not used to that, because he's otherwise scoring 50s every other game. So maybe that's why. But apart from that, his captaincy has been really good as well. So I'm very impressed. He's been more impressive than Babar Azam, even though I don't want to really make any controversies or comparisons or anything like that. But under pressure, because 2 games have been under pressure defending, where chasing looks like it's a bit easier with a bit of dew coming in and everything. So he's really held his nerve there. So he's really impressed me in terms of captaincy, but only time will tell. Babar Azam still has a lot of games to go, so let's see how that goes. But yeah, Don, let's finish off the episode by talking about your favorite tournament, the IPL. The latest update is that the auction list has come out. I sent you that list. I'm sure thanks to Vinay sent it to me. So
I was looking at it. It's quite interesting how many players are being played, and some of the players that you overlooked and forgot about are suddenly they come to your eye, and you're like, oh wait. For example, someone like a Rahul Tewatia was someone I just completely forgot. It just slipped my mind, but he's been an important part of the Rajasthan setup, and probably will make an important bid as well, along with someone like a Sarfraz Khan or something, who probably didn't come to my mind, but these guys have been performing at the domestic circuit as well, whenever they're given an opportunity. So these guys will probably make bids. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait. I'm actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm happy that I'm not on those auction tables, because it's a very, very difficult job at this point.
Yeah, but it's going to be a difficult job because it's also not only picking your favorite players and the balance and everything, but it's also picking the squad players. You'll have to dive into the under 19 players. You'll have to dive into the domestic players, and not every player will be available. So you have to have plan B, C, D, E for each player. So I think that's where it's going to be pressured, and also the fact that there is more teams now involved. There will be a lot of people who warmed the bench won't be warming the bench this season.
Exactly.
So that's going to be a big, big difference. The likes of Mohammad Nabi, he's not going to. He'll probably start, and there's so many other players that we've seen warm the bench. But even like an Amit Mishra, for example, he might play a key part in another franchise. So just because there's more options now, and you need to play more players. So I think that way that the auction will be is going to be very interesting, and it's going to be exciting. Hopefully, I think after this semi-final, we'll go more into the predicting 11s, and then after the under 19 finals, we'll just focus on that as well. Hasaranga not in the auction. That's what Vinay is saying. Is that true?
I should check that out. I think he is. I think I saw his name.
I don't know. I have to go and check. I thought that's surprising if he's not in the auction, but
No. I think he is. I think he's mistaken. Let me check. I can actually just check right now.
Because I think with Hasaranga, like he's been great for Sri Lankan cricket, and on these pitches, especially in India, even in the UAE, like against I think for RCB he was a bit nervous. It was his first time playing the IPL. You always have that tag on you, but maybe that got to him if he's not in the auction. But I think otherwise he should be in the auction. He's a very high skilled, talented player, and he can bat as well.
Right. I can't find it right now, but I think I'll confirm that.
Yeah, we can reconfirm it. If he's not in the auction, that is very surprising in that sense. But yeah, plenty of players to watch out for. Do you have any closing remarks, any questions?
No. I'm just looking forward to the game tomorrow. Hopefully the semifinals can be as exciting as today's game has been, and we'll see. No, Varinder Hasaranga, he's a part of the AL1 squad. I confirm it right now.
What is the AL1?
All-rounders 1. So he's in the first set of all-rounders that come through. He's gonna be pipped with Dwayne Bravo, Jason Holder, Mitchell Marsh, Mohammad Nabi, Krunal Pandya, and so on and so forth. Harshal Patel.
Dwayne Bravo is playing, huh? He's still playing.
Dwayne Bravo is the first pick in the all-rounder 1 list. It's followed by Varinder Hasaranga, Jason Holder, Mitchell Marsh, Mohammad Nabi, Krunal Pandya, Harshal Patel, Nitish Rana, and Washington Sundar. Those make up the first set of all-rounders.
Vinay got confused because he probably looked at the bowlers
bowling option.
He's in the all-rounder, and like I said, he can bat really well as well.
Yeah.
Hasaranga is in the auction, and he's going to be a very, very good option as well for teams, and really excited. And you saw the first section that's going to come through, basically the
highest bid, the M section, I believe they're calling it.
I'm very surprised why Ishan Kishan is not in that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think Ishan Kishan's all the way down into like wicketkeeper list, which is, I guess, somewhere his number comes in at he's at 34 or something, if I'm not wrong. He's 32. He's at 32. That's a big number off. It's interesting players that they've chosen in the M category, which is like the first category that comes out. That's Ashwin, which makes sense. Trent Bolt, Pat Cummins, these all make sense. Quinton de Kock, Shikhar Dhawan, Faf du Plessis, Shreyas Iyer, Khagizur Rabada, Mohammad Shami, David Warner. These are the M category players that will be first picked. So these are going to be interesting players. I think all of them will probably make very big bids, and a lot of players are looking for wicket-keeping options. Quinton de Kock and then Faf du Plessis probably goes back to Chennai. Shreyas Iyer will probably be the biggest of the lot, and I think the biggest overall as well. Ravichandran Ashwin is an important one. Pat Cummins will probably make a big bid as he did with KKR. Trent Bolt, Mumbai is probably going to go after him. Mohammad Shami is an Indian bowler who's going to be there as well.
So the players that you, the players that you mentioned, how many are there in the first 8?
9 people.
9 and there's 10 teams.
10 people.
So
10 people and 10 teams, one for each.
Could it be like that?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if that, but someone like a Punjab might want to because they have the bigger budget as well, So
they have a bigger budget, and I think whoever I am, if I'm in the auction, I'm really waiting on that Ishan Kishan because he's giving me batting, he's giving me keeping, he's giving me potential captaincy later on. It doesn't have to be right now. For example, we always talk about the Sunrisers. If he comes into the Sunrisers team, he can play under Kane Williamson and then take over captaincy as well. Like, I'm just looking at it from that point of view. But any other team would love Ishan Kishan. So I think you have to be careful in that first round.
There's
But
so many other players that are interesting before him, though. There's so many other players. It's like
Archer is back in the auctions, Punter is saying.
it's such a shocking surprise. Even Archer comes in before Ishan Kishan, by the way. So
Yeah.
it's such a shocking surprise. I think Rajasthan Royals will probably not like that at all. I think they would have probably had those discussions, and he probably didn't give them any indication. And then suddenly he comes into the auction, and he's a good all-round option. He is in that AL1 list, if I'm not wrong. Let me just check and confirm. No, he's in the AL2 list. Interesting. So he's not in the AL1. So he comes in after a lot of other players. So it's interesting, but how
coming back in Mumbai, like he's a Mumbai fan, that's why he's saying that. But it actually opens it up for Mumbai because their pace is not big. But because he's coming later on, they might just keep quiet in the first round
and then just go all out on him.
All out for him. That's what they can do. But then you can't touch the Rabada and all these guys. It becomes difficult.
And Rabada is in your first. Khagiso Rabada is in the first option in the M option there. So it's interesting. I think someone like an Archer, if he can give you a full tournament, he's a no-brainer. I think even for 5, 8, 7, 8 crores also, I think he's a very, very good buy because he's an all-round option. He's an excellent bowler, pretty handy batsman at number 7 or 8, and he completely changes the complexion of a team.
100%. Are there right to matches in this auction?
No.
When he's asking, no, there is no right to matches in this auction, which makes it even more fun. And we don't know because then it gives it's more likely you have the similar squads, right? A lot of people will go right to match, but I think now it just opens up the auctions wide open, and you have to be smart. I think because the way this is also coming, there's going to be big players in almost every round, right? So you have to be.
There's 31 players before Ishan Kishan comes in. That's a lot of money that's being spent in. So it's going to be very interesting how those dynamics work because Ishan Kishan has to get a big bid. So a lot of people will probably be holding on to 10-15 crores because 30 players before him is 30 players of caliber of 8-10 CR each. That's a lot of money being spent in. So. We'll have to wait and see how
What do you do in terms of injuries? Like, I mean, the Jofra Archer one was a freak injury, some fish tank injury, right? And
you get in a substitute at base price, right? Once the
but now that you know that he's injured and you don't know if he's gonna come back or not, do you put money for him because you haven't seen him in action?
I still think putting in about a few CR just left for him because he comes in a lower down the pecking order as well. Just keep about a 5, maybe 6, 7 CR budget for him. Someone like a Punjab or a Hyderabad can afford that to keep that 5, 6 CR separately and just go in bid all out for him. If he comes in that range for you, you have a potential fantastic buy for a budget money.
If I'm not mistaken, Deccan Chargers and Sunrisers, they both got Kevin Peterson and both Hyderabad teams, and he got injured for both seasons.
I think you're right about that. Yep.
So then, that thing, is very hard to take into consideration. I'm just saying that if you know that he has an injury history or he's not been fit in the last year or so, do you take that gamble in terms of money? I mean, anyone can get injured. Even if you put millions on Ishan Kishan, he can also get injured. We don't know that, but I'm just saying, do you play those odds just because?
I think for a caliber of a Jofra Archer, you should definitely take that gamble. If it pays off, you have a fantastic player for a decent amount of money. For example, I always come back to a Sunriser player, Manish Pandey. He barely did much for you over past 5 years. You still gave him 10 crores every season, right? So it's not like you're going to lose out on too much. Sometimes players just don't click for a certain franchise. And Manish Pandey is coming in after a fantastic season with KKR. He was the man of the match in the finals and stuff like that. There was a lot going on for him. It didn't work out very well for Sunrisers. Sunrisers showed their faith from day one to day end also, It didn't work out. These are things that happen, For all some of the other players don't work in, and Manish Pandey is a player of Sunrisers again, It's a lot of dynamics, a lot of issues that you'll have to work with. A lot of things like you said, plan A to plan Z will be needed, and something has to just make sense in terms of the auctions.
Yeah, Punter is saying who's the underdog and will go for big bucks. I think Arjun Tendulkar. You?
I think that's an interesting answer, but I think this is a very tricky one for me. I have a few notes on that.
Should I break it down for you from my opinion?
Huh?
Shall I break it down for you from my opinion?
Yeah.
Like I have like a varied kind of answer. It's not one single answer. I think if you look at it from Indian perspective, I think in terms of underdog, it might be a Chahal, Yuzvendra Chahal. You know, a leg spinner. Teams want
But
that kind of.
I think he will go for big money. I don't think he's an underdog. I think everyone is expecting
Compare
him.
him to Iyer, Kishan, Rabada.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm saying, like
Yeah.
you might not expect it. I'm saying he'll go higher than Rabada and these guys. I just feel like I could be completely wrong. And a foreigner who I think might go for big bucks is Van der Dusen, just because he's shown that he can play spin well. And
I have Russi written right up there for me in my list.
yeah, and he's really come up, whether it's the T20 World Cup or even against India recently, he's really shown. Punter Singh, McDermott.
McDermott's a good option. If for me, in the Indian scheme of things, someone like Rishi Dhawan is probably going to make, he's not turned a lot of heads. I think this was your option actually. We texted about that, so this is probably what I had written down, because he gives you an all-round option. He can come in and bat at number 7, and he's a pretty handy bowler. And from the
great Vijay Hazare, he had a fantastic.
He's a fantastic Vijay Hazare. I'm trying to think. I think from the foreign aspect of things, I think someone like a Jason Holder, who's probably gone under the radar so far in a lot of these auctions, will probably be a good buy for a lot of players, because again, that number 7 all-round option is always very key. I think number 6, number 7, if you can fit in a good player over there, you always give. Someone like a Krunal Pandya will go for a lot of money, but that's expected. But I'm just saying that someone who, if someone like Mumbai is going after Krunal, they are going after him. You can't really fight it. You have to look at what your budgets are, what your option B, C, and D is. And I think these B, C, and Ds will probably sometimes get good money. You're expecting SRK to go for a lot of money, but who's your other option? Who's your other finishing option? That's what I think teams should start looking at now.
Shah Rukh Khan is definitely another underdog.
I think everyone knows he's going to go for a lot of money. I think I would be surprised if it's anything less than 8 to 10 crores.
But the thing is, like you said, there's so many other players as well, right? So that's where I don't know how much you can afford to go on one player.
Mumbai is going for him for 18 crores. He's that Hardik Pandya replacement for them. I think it's going to happen.
You think? Okay, so they're not going to go for Ishan Kishan in that case.
No, I think Mumbai will not go for Ishan Kishan. I think they won't have a very big budget for him. Because I think Mumbai likes to have these foreign openers.
So he might just break the bank. Like he might just go.
He'll definitely break the bank. For me, I think Padikkal will be an important Mumbai Indians batting. I think because they want Rohit Sharma left hand, right hand option. They'll probably spend a lot of money on Bolt, because they like that Bolt Bumrah combination. So those will be the 2 important buys. SRK will be the 3rd buy, and then they'll have a lot of budget buys, like a lot of small buys. Devon Conway will probably go to them for a smaller budget, because you have to look at 2-3. They'll probably look at 2-3 impact. They already have 4 impact players, so look at 2 or 3 more impact players for that 10, 20, 25 CR, and then the remaining 20 crores they'll fill that squad with. That's what I think they'll go with.
They generally spend most of their money on the Indian players, and they've already done that in terms of retentions. They had like a Pollard, then they'll have a Pollard, which they've already got this time.
Correct.
Maybe spend 1 or 2 players, and then basically, like you said.
That's why I think they'll go all out for a Shah Rukh Khan and a Padikkal. That's what I think
they'll get bargains for people like Conway and these guys, the more underrated kind of players.
And they'll go for that, and all those players work out for them. Like a Mitchell McClenaghan has worked for them, a Colton Ayal has worked for them in the past. That's what I think they'll do. And they might look for a Shamsi, who's a good spinner and might not get the big bucks. But he's probably going to go under the radar. That's how they'll perform, because I think they'll go 3 top picks.
The big bucks now is just making those smart buys, and you have plenty of options.
Exactly, that's what they'll do.
And like you said, they have outstanding scouting, so that really helps as well. But let's see how it goes. Bit by bit, we'll talk more about this. And I think we got some really good insight from you from the Mumbai Indians point of view. But we'll go into each team and try to predict and how they're going to think. And of course, we're not going to get it spot on or anything.
We're not even going to be close, but we'll just try to think about it.
Might not even be close, but it's just like to create that excitement, but also like just from our thinking, what we think can happen, and then of course the all-important auction. That's going to be fun to analyze as well, break down, because there'll be plenty to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, so I'll catch you for that. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the semifinals. Thank you, Punter, and thank you, Vinay. Last question from Punter Singh: who will RCB go for and make their captain?
I think Maxwell will be their captain. I think that's a decision that's been made. I think, in my opinion, been made. I think that for me, I think that they'll go there, but their big big buys will probably be an Indian bowler to manage a Siraj. I think they will go for they'll probably go for an Ashwin kind of a spinner along with that. And sorry, they'll go for a foreign bowler to match with Siraj. They'll go with a Ashwin kind of a spinner budget, somewhat of a budget, and then I think they'll go throw the big bucks on someone like a Shikhar Dhawan to get that stability in the top order along with, because I think that their top three are good. So I think my picks for them are a Shikhar Dhawan. They have Patty Cummins and a Prasidh Krishna. I think these will be the three impact players that they'll look for, and then they'll try to use the other money to kind of fill their quota for players.
I love it. You can see that Don is prepared and he's preparing. So really, really good insight there. But yeah, I think thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, we'll talk about each team in detail. I think I should break that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking. Sunrisers will take like 3-4 hours, so I'll make sure I'll have to talk to you.
Sunrisers, Ishan Kishan, Washington Sundar, and Avesh Khan.
Yeah, it's not going to be that simple when we go through it. You're going to be talking about each kind of situation. I'll ask you counter questions as well.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun. Let's see what happens in the Under-19 World Cup as well. And then side by side, we will do the auctions and predict that stuff and talk about the IPL auctions. We have plenty of cricket action. Thank you so much, Don, for joining me, and I will catch you.
Yeah, take care.